Welcome to this week's Silver Arrow Show. Coming up, Toto gives me his feedback on the season so far, find out what kept the team so busy in Monaco, and Lewis's #1 mechanic shares his podium story. Toto, we're 6 races into the season so far. 5 of those races the team has won. How would you assess the performance so far for the entire team?
The record is very good. Winning 5 out of 6 races doesn't go much better. The one that we haven't won was actually a bit of a wipeout. We lost both cars. So I'm actually pleased with the results. But we had difficult weekends. Every single weekend we had things creeping up, little gremlins in the car, and we just need to sort it out to have a really stable base. But again, the result is what counts, and so far this has been very good.
When you started the season, did you anticipate having problems with reliability?
No, actually on the contrary, because when we started with testing this season, the car drove and drove and drove. And even the bits which we had on the dyno, they lasted for a very long time. And then once we started into the season, we were actually quite surprised that some of the parts weren't as reliable as we would have wished.
At the beginning of the season, people thought it would be Ferrari that would be the biggest rivals, but Red Bull have made a bit of a resurgence. What do you make of that?
In Formula One, you're only as good as your last race, and this is why at the beginning it was Ferrari who was expected to be the enemy #1, because they scored the better results. And now Red Bull won a race in Barcelona, and they were pretty competitive in Monaco, and suddenly Red Bull is being seen as the main competitor. I say we just need to stay calm. Both teams have all the resources you need in order to be competitive, and we're just trying to go and follow our path, develop in the speed which we have identified as necessary to winning a championship, and that is more important than always looking at the competition.
Winning from P3, Lewis Hamilton, an absolutely amazing race. How important was it for him to win in Monaco and for the first time this season?
It was important for all of us because we wanted to get Lewis out of the negative spiral, and it seemed like it would never stop. There was no pattern in the problem we had. It was just freak things happening on the car, and now hopefully we have ejected ourselves from that negative spiral, and hopefully it goes better.
What about Nico? Because of the team orders, with him having to allow Lewis to pass him, how was he after the race? Did you talk to him?
He was okay. He's very mature and very professional, and he understood that he didn't have a car under him on that Sunday to win the race. And once he realized that, it was no problem for him to let Lewis pass. Having said that, for any driver, it is of course difficult to stay calm and focused in such a situation. But he was very professional, and he recovered pretty quickly.
6 races down, 6 more to go before we have the summer break. How does the team prepare itself for such a busy calendar over the coming months?
Well, you just need to continue to develop the car in the way we have always planned, and we are pushing flat out, and we continue to develop the current car. And then you have to look after yourself, and every team member who travels needs to look at his energy levels. And then equally we have to challenge at the factory for next year's car. So it is very busy. The amount of traveling is going to be substantial until the summer break, but then we will really deserve it to go on holiday.
Well, thanks very much. We look forward to Montreal.
Thank you.
So Toto has talked us through what happened on track in Monaco, but I want to talk about what happened off track. So Rachael Laenen is the Senior Hospitality and Events Manager at the team. Rachael, how are you feeling after such a full-on weekend in Monaco?
It definitely was pretty intense. It was our busiest and most ambitious Monaco that we have attempted yet, and I think it turned out pretty successfully in the end.
So just explain what your role involves on a race weekend.
As the Senior Hospitality and Events Manager, my job is to coordinate the schedules for all of the partners and guests that are attending, liaising with each individual group, making sure that they have all the information they need about what their program is going to entail, and then putting together our internal schedules for our partner managers, making sure that everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be and when, to deliver the best possible experience we can over the race weekend.
So when you say everybody, what are we talking about in terms of numbers of the team that are dedicated to delivering that experience?
This weekend in Monaco, we had a team of 8 people, and we were hosting close to 300 guests in 4 different locations.
My goodness me. So that probably leads me on to my next question, is why is Monaco so different compared to other races?
At most other races, your activity is concentrated in just 2 places, usually the hospitality facility and the paddock area. They're normally located right next to each other, so it's very easy to get between the 2 of them. In Monaco, we had hospitality in an apartment that overlooked the front straight, on a yacht which was moored along the Quai des États-Unis, guests in the motorhome, and then guests in the garage. So the biggest challenge was moving people between all the different locations, bearing in mind the road closures, police controls, and all the different access passes that were required.
So logistics are a nightmare essentially in Monaco.
Definitely so, and communications can be a huge problem as well. The telephone signal is not very great, and Wi-Fi can also be a challenge. So we ended up using radios, which worked from one end of Monaco to the other, up 11 flights in our apartment, and it was the best way to definitely stay in touch as everything was happening.
That's incredible. So radio communications happening for the drivers out on track and also for the team off track. I love that.
Exactly, exactly.
So looking ahead to next year's Monaco, I guess you have to start planning quite far in advance?
Exactly. Monaco is not the kind of race that you can plan 4 weeks or 6 weeks ahead. We have already debriefed on this year, and before the summer break, anticipate having our hospitality options for 2017 already locked down.
That is phenomenal. And all that while you've got another however many races that are left on the calendar to plan.
Yeah, there's no time to look back. We're off to Canada already on Monday next week, and Baku straight after that too.
Delivering more and more amazing experiences. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rachael.
No worries.
I've been crunching the numbers since the Monaco Grand Prix, and these are the awesome stats that I've found. The Silver Arrows became the first team to win 4 consecutive Monaco Grand Prix since McLaren's incredible run of 6 from 1988 to 1993, and that was during the epic Senna and Prost era. Lewis Hamilton has now led 87 Formula 1 Grand Prix in his career, and that means he's surpassed his hero Ayrton Senna, who led 86. Lewis has also now won at least 1 Grand Prix in every season he's been in Formula 1, and his second Monaco Grand Prix win comes 8 years after his first, ending a run of 8 races without a victory. With his 44th Formula 1 win, Lewis Hamilton maintains his record of never having gone more than 10 Grand Prix without a victory. Lewis's #1 mechanic joined him on the podium in Monaco to pick up the Constructors' Trophy, so let's hear from him.
I'm Nathan Divey, #1 mechanic at Mercedes-AMG PETRONAS Formula 1 team. I only found out I'd be going up to represent the team halfway around the last lap. I'd been sat out the back watching the TV monitors, and they couldn't find me a couple of laps earlier to tell me I'd be going up there, which is probably a bit of a blessing really. No time to get nervous or anything. It is a very strange place to have a podium. The cars draw up in front of you, and then everybody arrives in one big scrum of sort of mechanics and team personnel. The overriding emotion of being on the podium is relief, and then it's pride. Relief that we finally got to the flag, because it was a bit of a topsy-turvy race, so you're never quite sure what's going to be around the next corner. And then pride for standing up there and representing Mercedes and all the boys and girls who worked so hard at Brackley and Brixworth. Now it's just nice to have it sort of sink in that we won Monaco this year.
So that's 6 races down, only 15 more to go. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the videos that we'll be making out in Montreal in Canada.